About time for another Coach Life. Ooh, about to lose the camera. About time for another Coach Life. Good morning. Or whatever time it is when you see this. It was a big weekend. It was 4-9 day. Ramadan. Not Easter. What do you call that? Palm Sunday. Whatever you celebrate or choose not to celebrate, it was a big weekend. Energetically, I rested a lot. I fast for Ramadan, so I was gonna break fast this weekend just because it's been a long week. But I said, nah, let's just stick this thing through. So I rested a lot. It's very nice to myself. Felt great. Today's Coach Life will have to be short. I still have to go in and do. We are in Violet Weeks. That means there's 7 weeks of school left for my curriculum calendar. Today we review Red Weeks. What came up this weekend, which seems like is of value right now for a Coach Life, is I had so much clarity from 2017 in Mexico City. Just imagine, this time 2017, I was living in Mexico City, Mexico. I had no clue what Mexico City was like when I went. I brought flip-flops thinking I would go to the beach. I didn't know it was not on the beach. I didn't know it was a large metropolis, 3 times as large as New York City. I didn't even know there were cities larger than New York City. I didn't know anything about the Mexican people other than stereotypes or things that the few that I'd met and befriended long enough to know their culture. It changed my life for the better. And there was so much magic that happened. As soon as I turned the corner to Mexico, the magic just, it's like a flood of magic. And then 2018, let's just focus on 4-9 day, right? 4-9 day in Mexico City. It was just beautiful. But it was restful, and I was painting and just falling in love with the sun again, and nature and people and culture and community. 2018, I was back in New York at the Impact Hub, the 30 for 30 cohort, but it was ending, and I was trying my hardest to save 49th as a nonprofit, but I was running out of steam, running out of capital, and so here I am, a 30 for 30 cohort member, Impact Hub. You know, it's a big deal. But so it seems like I think at the time I had another co-work space as well. But the truth of the matter was I was bankrupt spiritually. It was just, I thought I could just keep it going with work rate and passion, but there was nothing there. And I don't know why that was the case, honestly. Still don't know. But it was like watching a young animal pass right before you. It's heartbreaking. You do everything you can to keep it alive. But anyways, that was 2018. 2019, I had to start my life over, basically moving back to the vineyard. And as the bottom fell out, you see, I stepped out to pursue my dreams. And it wasn't the first time, but it was the most bold. And I I didn't really succeed. I mean, I guess I succeeded in the lessons that I learned, and without having stepped out, I wouldn't be the same. So I guess I did succeed beyond my wildest imaginations. But at the time, you got to understand, in 2019, it felt like I had reached rock bottom and I was still dipping but gaining some momentum. I had to start all the way over. So I was a dean of students before I left to pursue my passions. I had to start over as a substitute teacher. I was making like 75, 90 bucks a day, something like that. When I was subbing 10 years before that, when I first started subbing in like 06, 07, I was making 150 a day. So literally like a bunch of steps back. I was sleeping on the couch at Highland. I was this small. My life was so small, but without that, I wouldn't have started running. I wouldn't have got my body back to where it needed to be. You see, those of us who are blessed with, like, I wouldn't even call it athleticism, just a kind of playfulness, with physical playfulness. You don't realize how valuable it is, and you kind of take it for granted. But once I started running, which is I hated running. That's why I started running, because I said, okay, I'm at rock bottom, can't get any worse. No kind of intoxicants will fix it. No kind of no vape, like there was nothing I could do. And luckily I had traveled, because at that point I probably would have thought traveling would have fixed things. But luckily I knew that although it would have made me a better person, it wouldn't have changed my situation. And that's what I really wanted. So I had to make a list. I said, what are the things that I'm not doing that I'm afraid of at this point? Because those are the first things I'm going to do. And one of them was like, I can't remember what they were, but I could imagine it would be handling student loans and, the feeling of indebtedness and getting your books squared away. And then it just came up. It was like, I don't like to run. I'm not in the best of shape. I was in good shape, but I wasn't in the best of shape. But then it seemed silly. It was like, running. Why would anyone run? And then I started to unpack, and I was like, oh, I don't run not because I don't like to run. I don't run because there's trauma involved. Running, I failed at. Running is painful. It's like choking and suffocating and drowning and boredom and monotony all wrapped in one. It's one of the worst. But 2019, I started running. Now, to tie that back in 2018, at the Impact Hub, it was on 4/9 day, 4/9, that Ethiopia, Sarah, put me on to a Bebe Bikila. And when she told me, she was like, have you ever heard of Bebe Bikila barefoot run the marathon in 6? I said, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I would have remembered that story. And then she took the HDMI, plugged her laptop in, and we watched the Bebe Bikila win the marathon, the Olympic marathon in 1960s, barefoot. And it just, I said, how is this not, why doesn't everyone talk about this? How is this history not one of the main components of history that we learn? Why is this not a part of history? And so that kind of started the rebirth of 49th, and I teach it in every one of my classes. As a matter of fact, now I know what I'm doing for my lesson plan, so I can take my time on this Coachlife. You see how that works out? Oh yeah, I apologize for the last 4 videos. They all came out at the same time because I didn't know what was happening to the videos. I thought it was some kind of YouTube conspiracy. Turned out I just wasn't pressing the public option. It was stuck on private, which I never do, but anyways. So 2019, back on the island, rock bottom, but I started running. I was running. 2020, It was the pandemic. Going to the grocery store, black ops, hugging people, risking your life. A hug was risking your life. It was like, whoa. Had to realize I was way more suicidal than I thought. The pandemic, wow. 2 weeks to flat. This is fresh up. So March 13th, they said 2 weeks to flatten the curve. I completely disconnected from society at large at that point, because I realized if anyone believed that and anyone followed that, then they weren't the leader that I wanted, and they weren't the type of people I wanted to be around. It just so happened that most of the people that I know believed and followed that. So I said, okay, this party's done. So 2 weeks to flatten the curve turned into, here we are still in it. But if you were a leader and you reiterated that message, you hurt me deeply. I mean, we all make mistakes. It is what it is. But in that moment, I was just done with it. So I was 2021, just learning how to educate again, getting back into the classroom. 2020, I was working my way up at Martha's Vineyard Regional High School, and then for no real reason, I've come to understand now they didn't hire me back, and I have more information. I understand why now. I don't understand, but it's comprehensible. So I started working at the charter school in 2021 and 2022. This is my second year at the charter school. And here we are today. There was other magic. DMX passed, unfortunately, and it just so happened there's a huge Dante's Inferno tie-in from Mexico City to 2018, 19, so on. But I'll just tell you one quick story. So on 4-9 day in Mexico City, I was painting, and I put some paint on the bookcase, and I moved some of the paint. I moved one of Frank's pictures. Frank is a dear mentor of mine, friend, just a wonderful guy, Francisco Goldman. It's his apartment that I was renting, and roommates with John Lee. 53 Plaza Rio. But anyways, I moved a framed love letter between him and Aora, and behind it was Dante's Inferno. And I was like, nothing really drew me to Dante's Inferno, but in this moment, I was like, whew. And I opened it up and I started reading it. This is on 4-9 day. And I kid you not, the first quote was, I forget what you call the beginning quote of a book, epitaph or something like that. It was St. Augustine. If you've never read the Confessions of St. Augustine, you should read it. It's one of the medieval literature works that you're like, oh, this is where modernism came from, postmodernism. Anyways, St. Augustine, quote, opening Dante's Inferno, which speaks about there are two types of cities in the world. A city is just a place where men are attracted to similar things. And there's two types of cities in the world: cities of God and cities of man. Cities of God are self-centered, brutal, not concerned with their neighbors. Cities of men are self-centered, brutal. Cities of God are obviously more like Mexico City. It was just a gem. The timing of it, obviously I butchered the quote, but I'll come back and right my wrong. 4-9 day. So I got Baby Big Kilo. I got St. Augustine via Dante's Inferno. Behind a Frank and Aura love letter. I mean, you can't. The symmetry is just, synchronicity is profound. And then all while trying to save 49th, 4-9. And it's just dying in my arms. And I'm still to this day trying to figure, here we are, YouTube, 49-hour workshop, figuring it all out. But this coach life is way longer than I thought it would be. So, let me give you some gems for today. Make sure you remember who you are. You didn't come here to be anybody's anything. You came here to be the truest version of you. You may have chose some things that you don't understand now, but move forward courageously. Have faith that you are exactly where you need to be at the right time. You didn't miss any opportunities. Energy is neither created nor destroyed, meaning if it was meant for you, it's only being recycled. It's only going to come back bigger and better. Align your energy where it needs to be. Tap in. Be nice. Spread love. Most importantly, love yourself. Know who you are. Don't be out here faking for folks. Be you. Be good. Be strong. All right. Coach life, baby.